Today, I am sharing a heartwarming and powerful story about a young girl Neha, a beginner English learner, who moves to a new country with a big dream and a brave heart. As you listen to her journey, you are not just enjoying a story. You are learning useful English. You are building listening skills. You are growing your confidence, step by step, just like Neha. This story uses simple, clear English, with natural conversations and real-life situations. So, relax, listen carefully, and speak along when you can. Your English is improving, right now, just by being here. Now, let's begin Neha's inspiring journey together. Chapter 1. The Big Dream. Neha was 25 years old, and lived in a quiet town, in southern India. She lived with her grandmother, her younger brother Neil, and their playful brown dog, Tommy. Every morning, Neha helped at the family bakery, before heading to her part-time job, at a small tailor shop. Life was peaceful, but inside her heart, there was a silent voice, calling for something more. She had a dream, to speak English fluently, and live in a new country, where she could grow, learn, and become independent. Even though Neha never went to an English school, she tried to teach herself, in small ways. After dinner, while her grandmother listened to devotional songs and Neil played video games, Neha sat by the window, with her old mobile phone, and watched English videos on YouTube. She didn't understand everything, but she repeated phrases aloud. My name is Neha, I live in India, I want to learn English. Sometimes, she would laugh at her own pronunciation, but she kept going. Her favorite quote was, "One day or day one." One evening, after washing the dishes, Neha sat down with her grandmother, and said softly, "Amma, I want to go to Canada." Her grandmother looked at her calmly. "Why so far, dear?" Neha hesitated, then said, "Because I want to learn English properly. I want to meet new people, work, and do something with my life." Her grandmother was silent for a while, then placed her wrinkled hand on Neha's. "If you believe in yourself, then go. But remember, it won't be easy. Be brave, always." With tears and courage, Neha began the process. She applied for a student visa, searched for cheap flights, and found a small room to rent in Toronto. She packed simple clothes, her notebook, 2 English grammar books, and a photo of her family. Before leaving, her grandmother gave her a small diary, with a message written inside, "Write your story, one day at a time." As Neha boarded the plane, she looked out the window, at the sky and whispered to herself, "This is my beginning." Her heart was full of hope and fear, a mix only dreamers know. Chapter 2. First Days in a New Land. The airplane landed, with a gentle bump, on a cold morning in Toronto. Snowflakes floated in the air, like feathers. Neha had never seen snow before. Everything looked white, silent, and unfamiliar. She stepped out of the airport, with her small suitcase, wearing a borrowed jacket, and 2 pairs of socks. A kind volunteer at the airport helped her find a bus that would take her to the address she had written down on paper. The bus ride was long. Neha sat by the window, watching tall buildings, clean roads, and people walking quickly, in coats and scarves. Everyone seemed to be in a hurry, speaking fast and laughing in English. Neha didn't understand most of it, but she listened carefully, repeating words in her mind. "Thank you, next stop." Finally, she reached her new home, a shared house managed by a retired man named Colin. He opened the door, and greeted her with a kind smile. "You must be Neha. Come in, let me show you your room." Neha nodded, and followed him inside. Her room was small but clean, with a bed, a table, and a little window with snow on the glass. That night, Neha couldn't sleep. She felt the silence, more than the cold. She missed the sounds of her town, the temple bells, the tea seller's call, her brother's jokes. She curled up, under the blanket, and took out her diary. She wrote, Day 1. I arrived in Canada today. Everything feels big. I miss home, but I know I must be strong. I didn't come here to quit. I came here to grow. The next morning, Neha woke up early. The sun was hidden behind gray clouds. Collins had made toast and tea. Would you like some? He asked. Neha replied, Yes, please, happy to hear a familiar phrase. They spoke slowly, just small sentences, but Neha listened carefully, and repeated words, quietly to herself. After breakfast, she decided to explore the neighborhood. She wrapped herself in her scarf, picked up her umbrella, and stepped outside. The streets were wide, filled with people, shops, parks, and buses. Neha walked slowly, absorbing everything. She saw a library across the street, and entered out of curiosity. It was warm, and full of books. She walked past shelves, until she saw a sign. Free English classes, Mondays and Wednesdays. Her heart jumped. This was what she had been looking for. She approached the librarian, and asked shyly, Can I join class? The woman smiled and replied, Of course. You just need to write your name here. Neha signed her name in big letters. She smiled to herself. This was her first real step. Chapter 3. The Language of Confidence. Monday morning arrived, and with it, Neha's first English class. She wore her best sweater, tied her hair neatly, and walked to the library, with nervous excitement. The classroom was upstairs, bright and cozy, with chairs in a circle. There were people, of different ages and faces, from different parts of the world. Neha felt shy, but comforted. She wasn't alone. The teacher was cheerful and patient. Good morning, everyone, she said. Let's learn together, no fear here. Her voice was warm like sunshine. They began with simple words, hello, goodbye, please, thank you, name, country. Neha listened closely, and repeated each word. Her tongue twisted on some, but teacher encouraged them, it's okay to make mistakes, mistakes mean learning. Later, teacher gave each student a picture card. Neha got a card, with a photo of a shoe. Shoe, she whispered, writing it down in her diary. Other cards had pictures of food, houses, phones, cats, and chairs. One by one, Neha added these words to her vocabulary notebook. During the break, Neha sat next to a friendly woman named Lena, from Colombia. Your first day too? Neha asked. Lena nodded. Yes, English is hard, but we try, right? They laughed together. After class, Neha and Lena walked to a nearby cafe. Neha ordered soup and tea, her first order in English. The woman behind the counter said, Would you like milk with your tea? Neha froze for a second, but managed to reply, No milk, thank you. It was a small moment, but it felt big. That night, Neha sat by the window again and wrote. Day 4. Today, I learned words. I said my first order. I spoke to a new friend. I feel proud, even if my English is slow. I believe in practice. Chapter 4. Learning through living. The days in Canada passed slowly, but Neha began to adjust. Every morning, she woke up early, made her bed, and wrote one small goal in her diary. Learn 5 new words. Talk to someone new. Watch one video in English without subtitles. These were not big goals, but they gave her direction. One afternoon, she went to the local job center. The building was full of people waiting, speaking in different languages, filling out forms, and asking questions. Neha felt nervous. She stood in line, holding her documents and whispered her words silently before speaking. When it was her turn, a woman at the counter asked, "How can I help you?" Neha replied softly, "I want job. I work in shop before. I help people. I speak little English." The woman smiled and handed her a list. "Start here," she said. "There are shops looking for part-time staff. And don't worry, your English will get better with practice." Back home, Neha showed the list to Colin. He helped her understand the names of the shops and gave her tips on how to call. Neha tried calling 2 places. The first didn't answer. The second was polite but said, "We need fluent English speakers." Neha didn't feel sad. She took a deep breath and wrote in her diary. Day 12. No job yet, but I asked. That is a small success. The next day, at the cafe near the library, Neha greeted the cashier with a smile. "Hello. How are you today?" The woman replied, "I am good. You are improving." Neha grinned. These small moments were like stars in the dark sky, bright, simple, and beautiful. Chapter 5. Vocabulary in Action. Every Monday and Wednesday, Neha continued her English classes at the library. She sat in the same chair, next to Lena, and always kept her notebook open. Teacher started giving the class more challenging words: confident, nervous, curious, brave. Neha wrote each word carefully. She made flashcards at home and stuck them on her wall, one on the door, one on her mirror, another on her kettle. One Saturday, teacher announced an outdoor learning session. "Let's meet at Marblewood Park," she said, "and we will learn English outside the classroom." Neha was excited. That weekend, she wore her warmest coat and joined the class at the park. They walked around, naming things aloud: tree, leaf, bench, fountain. They played a game where they had to describe something without naming it. "It's white, it's cold, it falls from the sky," Neha said. Someone shouted, "Snow." The class laughed and clapped. For the first time, Neha felt like her words had power. She wasn't just studying English, she was living it. Later that day, Neha and Lena went for a walk near the lake. "I like Canada," Neha said slowly. "Cold, but people are warm." Lena smiled. "Yes, you speak more now. You are growing." That night, Neha sat at her desk, surrounded by flashcards, and wrote. Day 21. I spoke 10 new words today. I laughed with friends. I understand more. I feel strong. Chapter 6. A new face in the classroom. Monday morning arrived, with snow and silence. Neha wrapped herself in her scarf and walked carefully to the library. When she entered the classroom, she noticed a new face, a girl sitting alone near the window, holding her bag tightly. Teacher stood up. "Everyone, we have a new student. This is Miu. She's from China. Let's make her feel welcome." Neha remembered her first day, the nervousness, the quiet. She walked over and sat beside Miu. "Hi, I'm Neha," she said gently. "You can sit here with me." Miu smiled shyly and whispered, "Thank you." During the class, they practiced introductions. "What is your name? Where are you from? What do you like to do?" When it was Neha's turn, she said, "My name is Neha. I am from India. I like baking and learning English." Miu spoke next. "My name is Miu. I am from China. I like drawing and walking." During break, Neha took Miu to the library shelves and showed her the section with beginner English books. "This one is easy," she said, handing her a storybook with pictures. Miyu nodded. I like pictures. Thank you. Over the next few days, they sat together, helping each other. Sometimes, they read aloud from books. Other times, they just smiled through the silence. Slowly, Miyu became more open. She laughed during class games and asked questions. One evening, Miyu gave Neha a small drawing of a girl and a bird, with the words, "You help me fly." Neha looked at the paper for a long time, touched by the meaning behind it. She wrote in her diary that night. Day 31. A new friend today. I remembered my first day. Helping someone else helped me grow. Chapter 7. Voices of Friendship. The library classroom had become like a second home. The students were from different places, but they shared the same goal: to speak, to understand, to belong. One Friday, teacher announced a special activity. Let's write about a friend in the class. Just one sentence. Everyone began writing. Neha looked at Miyu and smiled. She wrote, "My friend Miyu is quiet, but her heart is big and beautiful." Miyu wrote, "Neha is kind. She helps me understand." Teacher read the sentences aloud. The room filled with claps and smiles. Neha looked around at her classmates and felt something she hadn't felt in a long time, that is belonging. Later that week, Neha helped Miyu register at the community center for a painting class. Lena joined too, and the three of them began meeting on Saturdays, sometimes for tea, sometimes for walks. They spoke simple English, but they shared real thoughts. One afternoon, they sat under a tree in the park. Miyu said, "Before, I was scared to speak. Now, I try, because I see you try." Neha looked at the snowflakes melting on her glove. "I came here with fear too. But look at us now." That night, she wrote. Day 40. Language is not just grammar. It's courage. It's connection. It's a journey, and I am not walking alone anymore. Chapter 8. Neha's first interview. Weeks passed, and Neha's English grew stronger every day. She now understood more conversations in the street, could order food with ease, and even helped Miyu and Lena with vocabulary. But there was one thing still missing: a job. One morning, Neha was sipping tea with Colin when she noticed a help wanted flyer on the fridge. It was for a cashier at a small grocery shop 3 blocks away. She stared at it for a long time. "Why don't you try?" Colin said kindly. "They are a family-run store. They might appreciate someone honest and willing to learn." Neha hesitated. "But I don't speak fast." "You speak enough," he replied. "And every job is a lesson." Later that afternoon, Neha walked into the shop. It smelled like fresh bread and herbs. A middle-aged woman stood behind the counter, arranging fruit. "Hello," Neha said. "I saw job sign. I want to apply." The woman looked up and smiled. "Oh, hello. Yes, we are looking for help. Do you have experience?" "Yes," Neha replied. "Back home, I work in a bakery. I help customers. I learn fast." The woman, whose name was Miss Patel, liked Neha's honesty. She nodded. "Okay. Come tomorrow at 9 a.m. We will try one day." Neha walked home, with shaking hands but a full heart. She had done it, her first English interview. That night she wrote. Day 47. I said what I could. Not perfect, but enough. Tomorrow, I begin something new. Chapter 9. Speaking with Strangers. Neha arrived at the shop before 9 a.m. wearing a neat sweater and a nervous smile. Miss Patel introduced her to the team, a kind young man named Armin, and an elderly customer named Louis, who always came early to buy apples. Neha's first task was simple: arrange vegetables and greet customers. The first customer came in and said, "Hey there. Got any sweet oranges today?" Neha panicked for a moment, but quickly remembered the word, sweet. She pointed and said, "Yes. These. Very sweet." The man laughed. "Perfect. You have got a good smile too." As more people came in, Neha forced herself to speak, even if her grammar was shaky. "You need bag. One moment please. Have a good day." By lunchtime, she was tired but proud. She had made 3 small conversations. One customer even asked, "Where are you from?" And she replied confidently, "I am from India. I live here now. I learn English every day." At home that night, she told Colin everything. He listened patiently and said, "You are doing more than learning English, Neha. You are building a life." She smiled and opened her diary. Day 48. Spoke to 6 people today. I made mistakes. I laughed. I tried. I am not invisible anymore. Chapter 10. A Day of Doubt. One Thursday, Neha had a difficult day. She was tired, from working back-to-back shifts, and had a headache. At the shop, a customer got frustrated when she didn't understand a long question about a product. "I don't have time for this," the woman snapped. "Can I talk to someone who actually speaks English?" Neha's face turned red. She apologized and called Armin for help. For the rest of the day, her confidence crumbled. She didn't speak much. She just did her tasks and stayed quiet. At home, she didn't eat much. She sat at her desk, staring at her diary. For the first time in weeks, she didn't want to write. Later that night, a message popped up on her phone. It was from Miu. "You okay, Neha? I missed your smile today. Let's meet tomorrow." Neha stared at the message for a moment and then wrote back, "Yes. Thank you. I needed this." Then she opened her diary and wrote slowly. Day 52. Today was hard. Someone made me feel small. But I remembered, learning is not a straight road. Tomorrow, I try again. Chapter 11. A Breakthrough Moment. The next day, Neha met Miu and Lena at their favorite cafe. They spoke slowly, shared stories from the week, and practiced new words together. Miu showed Neha how she had started writing mini stories in English. Lena brought a new phrasebook. They laughed and encouraged one another. "We all struggle," Lena said, "but look at us. 6 weeks ago, we couldn't say full sentences." Neha smiled. "Now, we can tell stories." That evening, something unexpected happened. Neha's shop hosted a small neighborhood event. Miss Patel asked Neha, "Can you introduce our team to the guests?" Neha panicked. "Me? Speak in front. You know everyone. Just say a few words. I believe in you." Neha stood at the small counter. There were about 20 people in the shop. Her hands were cold, but her heart was warm. She took a breath and said, "Hello everyone. My name is Neha. I work here now. I come from India. I am learning English and also learning how kind this neighborhood is. Thank you for making me feel welcome." The room clapped. Neha looked up and saw her friends, Colin, and even Louis from the morning. She smiled through her tears. That night, she wrote, Day 55. I spoke in front of people. I was scared, but I did it. I feel something new inside me. It's called confidence. Chapter 12. Neha's message to you. 2 months after arriving in Canada, Neha felt like a different person. She wasn't perfect. Her English still had mistakes, and sometimes she still felt lost in fast conversations. But she no longer feared speaking. She tried. She grew. She helped others. And she smiled more. In her last class with Reed before winter break, each student was asked to share one thing they had learned. Neha stood up and said, I thought learning English was only about books and grammar. But I learned something bigger. Learning English is learning how to be brave, to make mistakes, to speak even when you are scared, to connect with people. I am proud of myself, and I am proud of everyone here. Reed gave her a hug. You are not just learning English. You are inspiring others. That night, Neha wrote, Day 61. I came here with fear. I stayed with hope. I grew with effort. And I will continue, because this is not the end. It's only the beginning. If you are learning English, and feel nervous or slow, remember Neha's story. You don't have to be perfect. You just have to try. Every small word you speak is a step forward. Every mistake is a doorway to growth. So, speak up, say hello, ask questions, write your thoughts, and never, ever give up. And remember, your voice matters. Speak it with courage.